also got the Game of Thrones t-shirt. Season 7 is upon us. Winter is here. So for nothing else, there is no way I can talk about a Game of Thrones episode without spoilers. So if you have not seen the Season 7 premiere of Game of Thrones, this is a very spoilerific discussion and review. So you have been warned. Get to talking about Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 1, Dragonstone, 'cause that shit is rad. The opening scene of this episode alone just got me hooked. This is one of the entire series' best opening scenes for an episode, hands down. Because you just see Walder Frey in House Frey talking to the rest of the Freys, but immediately I was like, hold on a second. Didn't Arya slit Walder Frey's throat in Season 6? So the entire time that this scene was going down, it never once dawned on me that it could have been Arya wearing a face mask. I thought it was just a flashback of Walder Frey, like right before he died, talking to House Frey, but you just see him lift up that face mask, and it's Arya. I never got that whole face mask thing. I never understood the purpose of that. I mean, I understand where, like, how it works and all that. I just don't really like that part of the show. Regardless of how I feel about that, even before she takes off the mask, you just see all the Freys drinking, and then all of a sudden they're like coughing up blood. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Takes off the Walder Frey face mask, looks at Walder Frey's wife, and is like, the North remembers. And now winter has come for House Frey. Right then and there, I was just like, owned. The rest of House Frey just got totally annihilated by poison in their drinks. Now they're all fucking dead. This was one of the most memorable opening scenes to an episode and added yet another memorable and quotable line to the show's catalog. The rest of the episode after that plays out the way I wanted it to, and that is set up for what's to come. Not a lot of action, violence-wise. There never really was in Game of Thrones, but trust me, this is the most tame episode of Game of Thrones I've ever seen. But the thing is, you don't have to rely on the action. You can still make this interesting with everything that's going on. And with everything that's going on in this episode, you have to lay the groundwork for the season, especially where the season is 3 episodes shorter. It's now 7 episodes this season instead of the usual 10 that we got in the first 6. You have to convey a lot more information and a lot more plot into these episodes now that it's shorter. Even though the season finale is going to be 81 minutes, the season finales are always just wrap-up of what happened in the season, so you have to set up the season right from the get-go, just about. This episode did a really good job of that, just this overarching plot that I will get into where I think multiple parties are just going to converge, and I feel like there's just going to be a battle somewhere. I could be wrong. And this show is not big on predictability. I've been wrong so many times trying to predict the outcome of this show. But basically, I'll talk about it more in depth with the multiple characters and plot lines that this episode's set up. But basically, the overarching thing that I think they are setting up is that there is this old stronghold called Dragonstone. You know that stronghold that Stannis and Melisandre used to bang in? Yeah, that stronghold, that's Dragonstone. And beneath Dragonstone, there's Dragonglass. And apparently that Dragonglass can defeat the White Walkers. And how do I know this? Well, thank you, Samwell Tarly. Trust me now, I have Samwell Tarly's back. If somebody told me in Game of Thrones that Sam deserved to die, I'd be like, dude! That's Samwell Tarly. Show some respect. To it than that, it's more than just Sam going into the library in the Citadel and going into the restricted section, because apparently this is Harry Potter now. Because back in Winterfell, this all comes full circle with Jon Snow, because he's like, alright, take the wildlings to the Night's Watch and fortify the wall. Everybody else, we are going to be training for the Battle of the White Walkers. Sam comes into play in the library in the Citadel, because remember, back in Season 5, Jon Snow did lead a battle against the White Walkers. They did not defeat the White Walkers for good. Jon Snow, the thing here is that Jon Snow does not know how to permanently defeat the White Walkers. Sam's role in this all the more pivotal because when he sneaks into the restricted section of the library, gets the book as to how to defeat the White Walkers, which is the Dragonstone below the stronghold of Dragonstone, you just think to yourself, what would Jon Snow do without this dude? This dude has been so loyal to Jon Snow. He helps him so much. And if Sam just ever died, I would be so mad. Screwed up. I think I said Dragonstone twice. Yeah, I meant Dragonglass below Dragonstone. All this dragon whatever stuff gets confusing. Just so I'm not confusing anybody else. Dragonglass below Dragonstone. That's how it is. I feel bad for Sam though. That must suck to be a maester. You just feed people and clean shitters all day. How fun is that? That's why I'm not a janitor. If I were a janitor, I'd be like, I'd just take another big shit in the toilet and just leave it for the janitor for the next day and be like, all yours, pal. But, you know, shit happens, so. I am going to come back to this part of the episode later on because there's a scene later on in this episode that involves Sam and somebody else. I will tell you later. I just want to talk about other stuff. Like Euron Greyjoy? That dick! I guess they're setting up Euron Greyjoy to be like the next Ramsay. Episode really didn't show him do anything bad, but just watching him, you got that feeling that, yeah, he's worse than Joffrey. He's even worse than Ramsay Bolton. And Ramsay Bolton hunted humans for fun and fed a lady and her baby to starving dogs, and the dogs ate them alive. How do you get worse? But that is the feeling I have with Euron Greyjoy. He's just gonna be even more ridiculous than Ramsay Bolton was. 6, when like all the Greyjoys meet up, and then we meet Euron when Yara and Theon are talking to him, I'm just like, this dude's an asshole. He basically comes into play with the Lannisters in this episode because Cersei just paints a huge mural of the opening credits map and tells Jaime, it's like, yeah, we got enemies in the north, the south, the east, and the west. And Jaime's like, yeah, we don't really have any allies, but Cersei, always turning the tides, is like, we got a new one. Euron Greyjoy. And in this scene, the actor that plays Euron Greyjoy, I have no idea what his name is because how do you read that? Dude's acting in this scene, top notch. The way he was directed and told to act, I was just like, that convinced me that this dude means business and that he could be worse than Ramsay because you need to sell it on the acting, and he did a really good job in this scene. And I think this actually might be one of Lena Headey's best scenes for her acting in this show as well. The scene too, because this scene is good. This is good, man, because you just see Euron, you know he's up to something. He's being all flirty. He's like, alright, Cersei, it's like, you want to be allies? Take my hand in marriage. Cersei basically tells him, yeah, go fuck yourself. I love the line that Euron Greyjoy says to her too. He's like, I have 1,000 ships and 2 good hands. Reaction is just priceless. It's speechless. I loved it. Jaime's reaction, you can just tell below everything. He's just looking at Euron Greyjoy and he's like, well, fuck. Just see the look of fear and the look of tension in Jaime's face, and that's what this episode did very well. Not just in the facial expressions, but just from an atmospheric standpoint too. Even though this episode was very tame, violence-wise, it was still very tension-filled. And that is what the best Game of Thrones episodes do. We can talk about Sam for a minute, because this scene, this final scene with Sam, somebody's in a jail cell, and that really caught me off guard, because he is giving food to the sick, and you just see this arm reach out. It looks like it's infected. It looks like somebody got the simian virus from Planet of the Apes, or it looks like the Dark Prince from the third Prince of Persia game. This is his arm out, and he's like, spare me some food, maester. And immediately, my brother was like, oh, it's that guy. And I was like, who is this? It didn't register with me right away as to who this was. But then I thought about it, and I was like, hold on a minute. Let me think. I was like, infected arm. Holy shit, it's Jorah! Yeah, Jorah is now more infected than he was before. That was a nice little thing to throw in there. I appreciated that. Once I knew it was Jorah, I was just like, because I like Jorah a lot, so once I figured out and registered that it was Jorah, I was just like, that was cool. I'm glad they added that in. But I'm glad I don't have that disease. Like, holy shit, is that like frostbite? Final scene of the episode. I knew it was going to involve her somehow because she wasn't in the episode yet. I was like, final scene is going to be Daenerys, Tyrion, Grey Worm, all those people, her loyalists. It's going to involve them somehow, and it does. They get to I forgot the name now. Crap. Dragonstone. There we go. See, with all this dragon stuff, like just Dragonglass, Dragonstone, Daenerys' dragons, it's too much. It's a dragon stone. Shit, I almost forgot again. Okay. They arrive at Dragonstone. There we go. I love how this episode ends. Daenerys just walks into the War Council room, rips down the House Baratheon banner, and is just like, shall we begin? You just see the dragons flying overhead, but what can't be overlooked here, something I forgot to talk about actually, is the Hound. That badass, yeah, he has visions of the White Walker. I don't know how, but yeah, I had to shoehorn that in here somewhere. This was a really solid opening episode for Game of Thrones. It did what it had to do to set up the season. It seemed like it created this overarching plot that they're going to really revolve around this season, and I just feel like with so many different parties going after this Dragonglass, there's got to be something that's going down sooner rather than later. I love when this show tries to make you guess and predict about what is to come. Tune in next week for my review of the second episode of Season 7, Stormborn, where hopefully I won't forget names like Dragonstone and Dragon Force, Dragonglass, dragons, anything to do with dragons, hopefully I don't forget. When I just said Dragon Force, I forgot Dragonglass. I'm having a bad day. Also, stay tuned. Tomorrow I should have spoiler discussion for War for the Planet of the Apes. That was a really good movie. Wednesday, I should have a review for Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. And either Thursday or Friday, I'm not sure which day yet, I should have a review of Dunkirk. So, thank you guys for watching. I can't wait to watch Game of Thrones and review these for you. I hope you enjoy these reviews. I know this is a little long, got a little into the spoilers on this one, but thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.